Let me ask you something. When was the last time you turned down something free? A free trial? A free app? A free sample? Just slap the word free on it, and most of us are in. No questions asked. Doesn't matter if we needed it. Doesn't matter if we even wanted it 5 minutes ago. The moment something costs nothing, our brain shuts off the part that asks whether it's actually a good idea. And that's not an accident. Today we're getting into one of the most powerful and least talked about forces in consumer psychology. Why free things are so dangerous. Not dangerous like watch out. Dangerous like quietly, systematically dangerous in ways most of us never see coming. A behavioral economist named Dan Ariely ran a simple study. He offered people a choice between two chocolates, a Lindt truffle for 15 cents or a Hershey's Kiss for 1 cent. Most people chose the truffle. Makes sense, better chocolate, worth the small price difference. Then he dropped both prices by 1 cent, truffle for 14 cents, Kiss for free. And suddenly the majority flipped to the Hershey's Kiss, even though the relative difference between the two options was completely identical. Nothing changed except one of them hit zero. Zero is not just a cheaper price. Zero is a completely different psychological category. The moment something is free, your normal cost-benefit analysis just stops. You stop asking, is this worth it? Because your brain already decided there's nothing to lose. Except there almost always is. Here's the framework that changes how you see this. Economists call it opportunity cost, the hidden price tag on every choice you make. When you spend money, the price activates something called loss aversion. You feel the sting of paying, and that sting forces a quick, unconscious calculation. Free things bypass that completely. No sting, no calculation, no pause. But you're still paying, just not in dollars. You're paying in time, attention, data, habit, or mental bandwidth. Those costs are invisible, so your brain never registers them as real losses. That's the trap. Free things don't cost nothing. They just cost something you're not watching. The most obvious place this plays out is the internet. You've probably heard the line, if you're not paying for the product, you are the product. At this point, it's almost a cliche, so let's actually let it land. Every major free platform you use, social media, search, email, is running the same basic business. They give you a genuinely useful service at $0 cost. In exchange, they collect enormous amounts of data about you. What you search, what you click, what you linger on, where you go. What makes you anxious? What makes you laugh? That data gets used to show you content and ads calibrated with increasing precision to produce a specific behavior. And every feature on these platforms, the infinite scroll, the notifications, the autoplay, exists specifically to maximize the time you spend there. Not because it improves your life, because more time means more data, and more data means more revenue. You downloaded a free app. What you actually signed up for was a behavioral system optimized for someone else's profit, and you agreed to it because it didn't cost anything. Free trials work on a similar principle. A company gives you 30 days, no commitment, cancel anytime. Most people sign up planning to evaluate and cancel if it's not worth it. But two things happen. First, the product becomes part of your routine, and canceling starts to feel like loss, even though you never paid for it. Psychologists call this the endowment effect. We place more value on things once we feel like we own them, even temporarily. Second, most people just forget. Life gets busy, the trial expires, the charge hits, and canceling is just inconvenient enough that it doesn't happen for months, sometimes never. The free trial converted you into a paying customer not because you decided it was worth it, but because inertia is powerful, and companies know exactly how to use it. Free samples work faster, but on the same wiring. You try something, it goes from abstract to real, and then something subtler kicks in. You feel a small social obligation. You received something, so part of you wants to reciprocate. Anthropologists call this reciprocity, one of the most deeply wired social instincts we have, even if it was a tiny cube of cheese on a toothpick. But the real damage, the least visible kind, happens with your attention. Your attention is finite. There are only so many hours in a day, only so much mental energy before your brain needs to rest. And for the last 15 years, we've been giving that attention away at an extraordinary rate, almost entirely because the things asking for it were free. Think about your phone. How many apps did you download because they were free? How many of those get a chunk of your day? An hour of screen time is conservative for most people. That's 365 hours a year. Over a decade, that's over a year of your waking life, handed over to systems you adopted because they didn't cost any money. But they did cost something. Time you won't get back. Attention that could have gone somewhere that actually mattered. We'd never hand a stranger a year of our life in exchange for nothing, but sliced into 15-minute increments and traded for free entertainment? So what do you actually do with this? Start treating free as a price signal, not an absence of price. When something is free, ask what you're actually paying with. Time, data, attention, habit. Those are real costs. They just don't show up on a receipt. Apply the same scrutiny to free things that you'd apply to things that cost money. Would you pay $20 a month for this app? If the honest answer is no, then maybe you shouldn't be paying with an hour of your attention every day either. The word free is one of the most powerful words in the language. It short-circuits rational thought. It triggers an acquisition instinct that goes back to our scarcity-wired ancestors. Get what you can while you can. But we don't live in that world anymore. We live in a world where free is a business model, not a gift. Where the things that cost nothing in dollars are often the most expensive things you can bring into your life. The people building these systems are not doing it out of generosity. They're doing it because giving you something for free is the most effective way to get something from you, without you ever feeling like you made a trade. You made a trade, you just didn't know it. And the moment you actually know it, really know it, is the moment you can start deciding what's worth the real price.